Hello, welcome to West Ham Oi show with me, Alf Gasparo, on Irons United. So what a week it's been in the West Ham world. We went over there to Stamford Bridge at Chelsea and we came away with a 1-0 win, a glorious win. Let's face it, we've been out in the wilderness over there for the last 17 years. Not since the 28th of September 2002, where we beat them 3-2 with a first goal from Defoe and then a brace from our hero, Canio. But in this game, it was a heroic effort from Creswell, who basically ended up a fantastic move from us. With Martin, kicking the ball upfield, nod down from Antonio, Snodgrass. Oh, who else had got involved? Anderson. Then eventually got to Creswell, cut inside, right foot. Who knew he had a right foot? And then slotted it into the far corner. Beautiful goal, beautiful move. And let's face it, that's the kind of moves that we really want to see. Now, before the game, many of you, and perhaps myself as well, were thinking, well, actually, Pellegrini is definitely on his last legs. Yes, we were expecting the cold winds of winter to come in over the West Ham season, and we were just going to spiral downwards. But he put the burners on, injected some energy into the team, made a couple of changes which were well needed, and let's face it, we've been calling for them for a long time, and it worked, and the work rate was there, the effort was there, the commitment was there. But you've got to ask the question, why are we not seeing this week in, week out? Yes, I know it's hard to motivate players. Yes, I know it's hard to keep those concentration levels. But this is the first game we've seen in a long, long time where, whilst we may not have matched other teams or Chelsea in terms of quality, we outperformed them in endeavour and backs to the wall stuff. Look, before the game, many people were questioning whether Haller should have been dropped for this game. I think he should have been. In fact, for the last few games, I've been questioning where his head's been at, because he's not running. He's not making enough runs. He's not showing himself for those for any ball that can come into the box. He opened against Tottenham with a couple of knockdowns, but again, if he's not getting the support, that's the issue. Now it seems in this game, Antonio was up there, a lot more energy, a lot more. He's making a pest of himself, let's put it that way, and he's getting up there, and he's also getting support as well from our midfield, which was crucial. Rice and Noble, I thought, had a fantastic game in the centre of the park. And we can't underestimate Noble, what kind of impact he had on the game, I think. But certainly Rice. Rice really, and he's been faltering the last few games, but he really shone through. I thought Snodgrass on the right, who I'm never that keen to be on the right, to be honest with you. I'd rather see him on the left, make better use of his left foot. But he had a great game as well. And, in the first half, he cut back inside on his left foot, whipped the ball in, and Antonio, really scored with his head, kind of flung his head, his whole body at the ball, really, and ended up doing a cartwheel somersault and almost broke his neck in the meantime. Anyway, but, a good save from their keeper as well, Kepa, and he kept the ball out, would you believe? But look, I think for the first 20-25 minutes, it was safe to say that Chelsea looked dangerous to me. We were kind of holding them off. We were really good in defence. I think Balbuena and Ogbonna had a really good pairing. We've slated Balbuena so many times. He hasn't performed, but in this game he performed. I think Ogbonna is the linchpin there. He's the one that we're looking to now to steady the ship. And did you ever think we'd really be saying that of Ogbonna in the past? But he's the one there who's acting as our prime defender, and maybe a Balbuena next to him, that's working. Fredericks on the right hand side showed a lot of energy, but not only going forward, actually tracking back, and he made some vital interceptions and tackles there in defence as well. So, and then Creswell on the left-hand side, obviously he played his part as well. You know, almost unlucky to concede an own goal where the cross came in from James, I think it's on their right-hand side, nicked him, deflected it and caught out Martin. Well, would have caught out any keeper in all fairness, and then, you know, hit the post. So we were lucky there. They were lucky to even get that opportunity, and we were lucky to, you know, get away with it as well. On another day, I think it'd be fair to say that if Chelsea had been firing on all cylinders and they got their shots on target, I think it could have been another bad day for us. But that's a lot of ifs and buts, isn't it? Essentially, we only played the team that were out there against us. You know, whether they were performing well or not is irrelevant. But we didn't really allow them to play that well. We kind of frustrated them a little bit, and we were getting more into the game. I think for the first half, let's say, I think Chelsea nicked that one. I think they had the edge over us, over in the balance of play. But I think the couple of opportunities that we had would send shockwaves through the Chelsea team, and also possibly worry them at half time, because we were still threatening going forward. Yes, we were resolute in defence and in defensive midfield, but I think going forward. Now, the player I haven't mentioned, which is kind of the player we kind of love to hate at the moment, is Anderson. Anderson, Pellegrini has changed his position. He brought him into the middle for this game, and we all think, let's face it, we all think that that's where his position should be. I really don't think that as going forward now, that Pellegrini has to worry about other players. We just need to say, right, okay, which is our best 11 right now, which is their best position, and where are they most effective? Anderson, he's not happy on the left-hand side. He doesn't like it on the left-hand side. His body language tells you he's not happy and he's not productive. You come into the middle and he's more productive. Now, every single opportunity that we had on goal, whether it was a shot or whether it was or got into the 18-yard box, Anderson was more often than not, actually involved in the build-up play. And he's sitting in there, you know, spreading the balls out, some easy balls, maybe some crossfield balls out to the wings. We're getting the ball out to the wings, we're getting some crosses in. Who knew that that would be successful? Yes, I did, and you did too, I'm sure. Look, for me, Anderson is one of those players. I don't think he's going to be with us long term. But what I think is that whilst he's with us, he's got to work up his work rate. He's got to work harder, and he's got to show it more. And based upon his last performances and based upon this performance, whilst he was better, I still don't think it was fantastic by any means. I don't think he dominated the game or dictated play like we hoped he would. I can see why Pellegrini brought him off. I can also see why Anderson was thinking, when you put me in the centre, I've contributed a little bit. Why are you taking me off when I could be the creative spark here? And I can see how that spat has, developed on the touchline as he got subbed. Is it something to be concerned about? No, but I think it leads to, certain dynamics within the dressing room and certain players that may be happy and others may not be happy. I'd watch that story developing there. I certainly don't think it's going to linger, but there is a discipline issue there. You certainly don't want that, happening again. Is it the first time it's ever happened? No. Is it the last time it's ever going to happen? No. Managers and players falling out on the touchline. But certainly for us right now, we need a lot of solidarity amongst all the players and the management. Has Pellegrini saved himself with that performance? Well, I think the jury's still out on that one. I really do. Because whilst it was a good performance by us, I think, it's not a one-hit wonder here. We have to look to consistency. We go to Wolves next. then we've got some tough matches coming. This could, our euphoria could all of a sudden be wiped out by another poor performance or another uncommitted performance. And I think this is where we've got to look at the players now. Each individual player, the outfield players this is, to say, right, okay, they've got to look at themselves and say, look, in this game, it worked. And we worked for each other, and our positioning was right, and we upped our game 10% or 15%, 20%. Now, we've got to continue that. And that's the only way it's going to work. And that's the only way Pellegrini is going to last to the end of the season. But I think most notably, which I think he will, whether he'll continue into next season. I think that's it, because I think our options are limited right now, in terms of, Pellegrini out and who comes in. Lots of managers have been touted for us, of course. I don't think any of them really are suitable candidates, to be fair. Lots of people saying Howe. I'm not so sure about Howe, whether he'd be the right fit for us. I'm not sure whether he's the right manager. I'm not sure if he's been successful enough in where he has been at Bournemouth. And I'm not talking about league position. I'm not talking about, trophies or anything that they haven't won, of course. I'm talking about just general consistency and success. They've had some good moments, but lots of times they've been bang average and poor performances as well. So, I'm not sure whether he could turn our season around or turn our fortunes around going forward. In future seasons. So that, for me, I think we need to look elsewhere. I think we need to look at the types of players that we're putting out into the field, and are they showing British Premier League grit? I'm being careful what I say here, because I'm not convinced that you can only have British players who are going to give us that bulldog spirit, let's say. But we need players who have that fighting spirit, who know what it means to play for West Ham and play for the club with pride. I don't care what team you play for, you got to play with pride. And I think sometimes that we've been lacking that. We've had a few players, obviously, Nobes, Rice, Snodgrass, always, gives it 100%. I'm not sure many of the others. Creswell, I would put in there as well. Ogbonna, is really showing his worth now. I'm not sure many of the others have shown that. But Fredericks is committed. He's showing as well. But the likes of Yarmolenko, Haller, Anderson, Masuaku in the past as well. He's kind of drifted in and out. Lanzini hasn't really set the world on fire, since come. Again, I know he's injured right now, but we hope big things for Lanzini again, but we almost get there and it fades away again. At the back, Diop, I think, has gone. And then obviously we've got our keeper woes. But, Roberto who? Exactly right, and it was right that he was dropped. But let's face it, we've been saying that he should have been dropped for a long time. Martin comes in, Alvin's son, and he was only supposed to be a training keeper. He was never supposed to play. He's been playing at lower league stuff, championship stuff, and doing reasonably well. But he's, a 32-year-old or 33-year-old player. He's making his Premier League debut for West Ham. His dad is club legend. That's going to be an emotional time for anybody. Apparently, so I hear, he didn't eat for 2 days beforehand. How nervous he was. And after the game, after putting a good performance in, he was emotional, overcome with emotion. I don't know about you. Maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm looking at this through a bit of, the old claret and blue specs here. But surely every one of our players should be like that. Wouldn't it be fantastic if every one of our players had that same emotion? Maybe that same kind of nervous tension, that same kind of emotion was an infection, a virus that went through our team and actually got them to play a little bit better. Hold on, wait a minute. We've got Alvin's son here at the back. He shouldn't really be in goal, but he's really up for it. Maybe we should be up for it too. What about his performance? Look, for the first sort of 10 or 15 minutes, and he made a couple of saves. You know, the ball kind of bobbled out of his grasp, but he'd be recovered. He looked a little bit nervous, and quite rightly so. I mean, this is not a slight on, you know, David Martin at all, because I thought he had a fantastic game and a fantastic debut, but he looked a bit nervous. But, you know, that was always going to be the case. Any keeper who comes in after the fiasco over Roberto, but not just Roberto, about our whole team's performance the last few games, you know, is going to be nervous. But he dealt with it. Now, what I'm going to say this about Martin, and this is not to say that he's our best keeper, he's a fantastic keeper. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is he did the simple things very well. And he was dictating and talking verbally, you know, directing the defence in every manoeuvre, in every defensive position, every set play, every corner. It doesn't matter whether he was successful or not. He was there communicating. He was doing the simple things very well. His general positioning was very good. And guess what? He wasn't doing the flamboyant, oh, look at me save. You know, see if I can get in the next, you know, match of the day clip. No, he was just coming in, collecting the ball, catching it, gathering it, catching it out of the air, that kind of thing. You know, it's simple stuff. Guess what? He's a goalkeeper. That's what you're supposed to do. Not go and punch it away when you just can, you know, easily grab it. Not trying to do a quick, you know, fingertip save where you can easily just grab it. No, he's doing the simple stuff. And that's what I liked about him. And I think that kind of, whilst he was nervous and why he, you know, had a couple of minor fumbles, you know, I'm trying to play devil's advocate here in that overwhelmingly he was just brilliant in goal and he had a brilliant performance for us. But I worry that we as a fan base are going to be have too high expectations of him now. You know, we're still waiting for Fabianski to come back. Let's face it, that's what we're waiting for. And we'll hope that, you know, Martin can continue this performance and still get the rest of the players to trust in him as much as that he'll trust in them as well in the next coming games as well. Certainly until the new year when Fabianski comes back. Yeah, whether Fabianski even be able to get in goal, who knows? If Martin's doing fantastically well, let's play your best 11. You know, that's it. If he's playing well, keep on playing him. But, you know, he's got to show it. They've got to protect him as well. He's got to protect them as well. Do the simple things right. You know, wear your heart on the sleeve. I love that. I love wearing your heart on your sleeve, playing for the team, playing for your dad, playing for the colours. You know, and that's what we should be looking for now. Yes, I'm rambling on a little bit, but you know, who cares? Look, we're all excited. This is an OYI show after all. You know, we actually went there and we battled, we were committed, and we shocked ourselves. Let's face it, didn't we? The players proved us wrong, because we all thought, well, we were going to get slaughtered there. Whilst a few people were almost quietly confident, there was a whiff of something in the air that maybe thought, oh, well, maybe we could get something there. Maybe like the last couple of seasons when we've got there and we've, you know, got a hard-fought draw or something. But no, we actually went there and we won, and it was fantastic. Great goal from Krez, as you should say. Great display from Martin, but a great performance from the rest of the team. We were solid in defence, and we were making last-ditch efforts, last-ditch saving tackles. And, you know, this kind of attitude, this kind of application is infectious. You know, anytime you're playing a game, anytime you're within a group, the dynamics of the group can quickly change, and it can either go down or it can go up. And then for us, it went up because we were I had each other's backs the whole time. And that's what happened. The back four, and obviously our keeper having an improving game, let's say, and frustrating Chelsea, who weren't having the success in front of goal which you would normally expect. Yeah, they were missing a couple of players, no doubt, and perhaps they underestimated us a little bit. Perhaps, perhaps that's just been a bit generous towards them. But let's face it, we met them halfway, and we battled them. And what we really did well in the game was defend our defence. Rice and Noble in front, and then Snodgrass on the right. And I haven't really mentioned Fornals, actually, who, let's face it, we were all wondering what the hell have we spent all this money on for a player who hasn't produced or even likely to produce. But he did well as well. He was actually, it wasn't a fantastic performance from Fornals, but a much, much improved performance from him, on the left-hand side. But I think the key here is, Pellegrini in his selection of Anderson in the middle, or at the top of the diamond, if you like. That's not really a diamond, but in front of the the midfield, and then we had Antonio just up there by himself. Can this continue? Can we still play this formation, or should he jig it around again? I think, look, here's the issue. When Anderson had his success last season, just before Christmas, he kind of played in the centre. That's where we need to see him. If Haller isn't really showing it enough, he's not speeding up, he's not committed to the cause, and he's just thinking that he needs to have support all the time, then he should be on the bench. He should not be starting. If Antonio is fit and he's able, then have him on the field and have him up front if that's the case. Look, Arnautovic wasn't a striker, we turned him into a striker. Antonio strictly isn't a striker, but if that's our best option, then we've got to go for it. Could we change things around to have Haller up there, have Anderson behind him? Maybe put Antonio on the right, maybe put Snodgrass on the left, that kind of thing. Look, can we jiggle things around a bit? No doubt, but we've got to have the players on the pitch that are going to be energetic, they're going to be a pest for the opposition, and they're going to keep on going with all their might. As soon as one player starts dropping their percentages in their performance in a game, again, that's one of those infections that could easily spread through the team, spread through team performance as well, and that's what will make the difference between a winning performance and a losing performance. So, Pellegrini now, this is where, for me, his success or his season really starts now. Okay, we've had a terrible time for the last few weeks. Everybody was questioning whether he's the right man for the job. I've questioned that, of course, and I still do, until we get that consistency and we can get ourselves back up the table. Yes, I know it's very tight there, but we need that consistency. But it's the performances that are going to count. We had a great performance on Saturday against Chelsea. Wasn't the best quality in terms of whether we matched them pound for pound in terms of that respect, but we beat them in effort and commitment, and they were shown wanting in that regard. So for us, that's a positive. If we can demonstrate that in every single game, then actually for me the result, whilst it is all important, I know it is, but it's actually the performance. The performance is more important, because if you can keep that level up there and that performance up there, then it is only a matter of time where you will actually see results coming in. The pressure gets off the team, the pressure gets off the management, and everybody is starting to feel a little bit better about themselves. You can get behind a team that is really committed and performing well, even though they're not getting the result. Let's face it, this is, West Ham. We've always had this. We've always had, I sometimes worry about our fan base as a whole, but not just our fan base, any fan base of any team, that it's almost like we're expecting too much. We're expecting that we're going to win everything, but we can never be like that. We've got to just hope that we get results, but it's what we do expect is a performance week in, week out. And we've got to expect our manager to be making the right decisions at the right time and making tactical decisions, not only game to game, but also within the game as well. For me, on this game against Chelsea, I think Pellegrini had it just about right. Question marks over the Anderson substitution, I know, but in general terms, I think he had it about right. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if you think that this is our way to go forward. Can we build on from there? Can we get a result against Wolves? Can we get more points over the next few games? Will Pellegrini still keep his job? Does Antonio play instead of Haller? Do we accommodate Haller? Where should Anderson play? What about David Martin? You know, are we putting too much pressure on him now to perform week in, week out? For me, he has to play, but for me, it's the team in front of him that has to perform and protect him as well. We can't just be strong in defence and have our midfield and our strike going forward be woeful and lose the ball too quickly. Ball retention needs to be better. Going forward, yes, we still need to be better, more consistent. But if we can be strong and resolute and still show that togetherness, that solidarity in the ranks, I think we've got a fair chance of, recovering the season somewhat. Are we going to make 6th or 7th? No, that I think is long gone. But I think we can do a top half finish, perhaps. Perhaps. Let me know what you think in the comments. But please subscribe to Irons United and check out the website Irons United. WordPress.com as well. Let's say leave loads of comments as well. And I'll catch you on the next, well, hopefully a next Oi show after the Wolves game. But who knows? Up the Hammers.